I'm Franco Pellegrini. I'm going to give you a quick show of product we developed for a customer. It's called Collective.rosetta. It's not yet released, but it will be soon. Basically, it's an alternative of that old widget that Google provided for quite some time, where you can basically put it on any website. You have that drop down and you can choose a language to translate to. A bit about me. I'm from Cordoba, Argentina, next door. I've been a Plone developer since 2005, part of the community since 2010. And I'll be relocating to Valencia in Spain next year. So there will be no more developers in Argentina. Okay, so I think most of us here need to regularly translate loan sites. And typically, we have several use cases. Um, One of them will be translating the UI, like, for instance, the menus or labels on different parts of the template. Show or hide content or change the order where they show up. And sometimes we need to deal with same units and formats and not like the ones they use in that special country in north. Um, Also, when translating a site, you want to use you want to translate the actual content that editors are putting on the site, and sometimes you need to do both. Several ways of achieving this. The very first part of it is the internationalization and localization. This is where you basically translate the UI and the different templates that are part of your site. Another approach that I've seen on small sites is manually authoring the content in different languages. So an editor will create a folder called Portuguese or Spanish or English, and it will put content in those languages inside there. Another approach is using a product on Plone. We have right now Plone App Multilingual, and the old guys know the Lingua Plone, which was pretty much the same. This is basically doing more or less the same thing that editors do manually on small sites, but it will do it on a normal and sane way. And then there's solutions like the Google Translate Widget, which is basically something that it will pick up whatever is showing up in the page. It will process it and it will replace the words with the translations. Here's where the product we developed comes in. The different, I already mentioned basically the use cases. When you have big sites used from across from different countries, you want to have the interface look in the language of the person using the person. When I talk about the person, I'm talking about editors, people logging into the site and making changes. Sometimes, for instance, you have date formats where you have year, date, month, and in the rest of the world, we have year, month, day. So when you want to sort a column, you want to do it from older to newer or the other way around. And so you need to handle all of these cases. And it's very important to do this when you develop products to release to the community, because you don't know in which language they're going to be using it. So if you can put at least the needed bits on the templates and the Python scripts to handle that, that is great. The pros and cons. I said pros and cons, but it's just good and bad, and depending on the usage. But basically, in this sense of trying to translate a site, a pro on this feature is that it will allow person in different places to use the system better. And the cons is that the editors have no control over it. The only thing they can do is maybe change a setting that it will change how this shows up. And the manually way of doing things, as I said, this is usually done on very small sites with very small teams. You don't need to set up anything special. You just need to try to be ordered and do it in a consistent manner. So as a pro and a con, editors have full control. You know your customers, you know which editors go into the pro column and which ones go into the cons. And it's very hard to maintain when the amount of content grows. And on using the products like multilingual or the old lingual Plone, it's basically the same. The pros is that editors have control. They can change the translations. And a very good thing on this approach is that the translated content actually exists in the site. So you can search for it. You can do SEO. You can relate stuff from one language to the other, and so on and so forth. The cons is that in this approach on big sites, you usually need to have a specific translation team handling these different translations. And on existing sites, you might need to perform migration to include it, so that takes time and some risks. Using the full page translation solution, it's a quick approach, and it uses automatic translations. You simply add a widget to your page, and then it will handle it. So the pros will be that it's very easy to install. There's no need to do migration. And again, as I said before, editors having no control over it is both a good thing or a bad thing, depending on their use case. And the bad thing on automated translations is that they can go wrong. So this is an example. When I was trying to book the hotel coming here, the page on the hotels were in Brazilian, and when I was choosing the dates, it has the name of the days on top of the calendar, and then if you translate it to English, you can see, for instance, that Tuesday, that in Brazilian is terça, it's abbreviated as ter, and for some reason it's translated to have in English. And it's even worse in Spanish, because it says tener, which is to have. I don't know why it's the same. And then on wed, which is a wedding, it's casarse in Spanish. Then Saturday, which is sat, it's the past of sit. In Spanish, it's translated as se sentó, which it makes no sense. And then there are some funny ones that all of us have seen around, like very useful sign there, you're here, okay, thank you very much. And it's and maybe we need to ask a German to explain what this means. Okay, so basically on collective.rosetta, we had a customer that basically was using the Google widget. And since it was being discontinued, we needed to provide a similar solution for them. I found a guy on GitHub that basically did the same thing. It created a widget with React, and it is basically a clone. You need to provide a simple backend server, and it will use a really easy API, two endpoints, and it will do the same thing. I contributed a few improvements for that, a few things that we needed for our customer, and I created a Plone package to install it in a Plone product, in a Plone site. You need to include the product as you do with any other product. The backend we created is only supports Google Cloud Translate API, but you can implement any other backend service that you prefer. It's very easy to do. But if you're using Google Cloud Translate API, you need to go to the Google console and enable the API, create a key, enable the cloud storage and create a bucket in there. I will explain why. And then get the JSON for that key and put it on the backend server. So we're gonna do a quick live demo here. When you create a site, a fresh site, the only thing you need to do is go to the add-ons control panel. You install collective.rosetta, and you have the language drop-down right there. Eventually, I don't have that done yet, but eventually it will be honoring the settings from the language settings. Maybe add a few more settings in there to control whether you want it to show in the dropdown or not. But right now it's fixed to an example that will translate to lorem ipsum. But it works the exact same way. You see the page, and then you go and change the language, and it will basically replace in place the with the translation. It has a feature that allows you to, it's called glossaries. When you translate, let me go back, sorry. When you translate to an actual language, there are cases like the examples I showed you just before, where the automatic translations go wrong. And for instance, in Spanish, it doesn't make sense to translate home as hogar, which is basically the house meaning of home. So you can create a very simple CSV with two columns: the language, the source language, and the target language. In this case, just for fun, I replaced how it's going to translate Plone to the word awesome. And then, and it's key sensitive. So if you have capital letters, you have to provide both cases. And you not only need to do one-on-one words, you can have one word and then provide a phrase or a phrase on just one word, whatever works. So this is why you need the bucket on the cloud storage for from Google. So you will come to the glossaries here, and you choose the source language. Sorry, so enabled. Yeah, you choose the source language, the target language, and the CSV. So I will provide this one. Yes, I will upload it. It takes a bit. And below here, while this uploads, you can see some statistics on the amount. So because the way we implemented this to avoid, Google Translate API is a paid service. It allows you to have 500,000 words for free, and then it starts charging you. So we implemented a caching mechanism in this backend server. So when the same translation comes again and again, it will not go to Google, and it will just show the translation as it has it already. I have the glossary uploaded. It now says here that there are 4 entries, the amount of characters, some information here. And so now if I go back to the home and translate to Spanish, wait, I needed to, this is one of the improvements I need to work on, but basically I need to delete the translation database because I don't have a way of purging the translated cache. And so now if I refresh the page and translate again, now it's taking a bit more because it's going to Google. And now you can see that the home is no longer translated wrong. The events is the phrase that I put there. And every instance of Plone is replaced with awesome. So we have awesome here, awesome there. As you can see, this gets translated like with the words that are actually showing up in the display of the page. So let me see if I can show you. I will scroll fast, and you will see that the words start to translate. It was a bit fast, but it does that so it doesn't translate stuff that it really doesn't need to do because it's not visible. Let me see. Oh, and the thing we had to implement here. Let me see if it. Yeah. The thing we had to implement here in order to improve this, to avoid the wrong translations, is a way to actually modify the translation in place. So if an editor comes here and see that this word is wrong, this phrase is wrong only here, and he doesn't want to provide a glossary to do it everywhere, he will just, with the Control key pressed, and when you hover over the different parts of it, a pencil shows up. So you can edit this in place and put whatever, however he wants to correct it. He will save it. And then when you refresh the page and translate it again, it will have the modifications that he made. All of that is stored in this cache on this middleware server. So it is reused. What else? Oh, also this. So during the past weekend and these days, I've been stripping out the different parts that we implemented for our customer, which of course have some really bad things and hard-coded stuff that you should not do, and put it on this product that I want to release. And of course, I broke something, but the product allows you to, once you have the language selected and you go to another page, the selection will remain. Oh, it works. Maybe it's the internet. I don't know. It will keep the translation in there. So when you are navigating the site, it will continue to be translated. And now stop working. Yeah. I don't know what's going on. I believe that's pretty much it for the showcase of the product. Yeah. So when you have several languages, you can choose here the source and the target, and download the glossary to modify and then upload it again. This goes all to the Google Cloud Storage. Well, the bad thing about this is what I mentioned before. The content in the site continues to be in English. This is only for display. So if you search for something on Google in another language, it won't show up. Stuff like that. Oh, and the other thing that is broken, that it shouldn't be broken, is that when you have it translated and something new comes up, like for instance, if you search something here, it should also be translated. But that is it's broken. I don't know yet why. I need to fix that. So yeah, as I said, several improvements. Implement more backends. Maybe you can do something like a merge of different services, and then do some kind of load balancing to avoid costs, and translate a bit here and a bit on Bing and a bit on whatever other service. Improve the handling of cache translations. So when you have something that was cached, you change the glossary, you want to have it updated on the things that you have cached already. And also providing a way to be very easy to find pages that were updated after they were already translated, so the cache doesn't show an outdated translation. And that's basically it. I think it was very, very fast. Yes?
Very nice.
The inline modification that you made, did that update the glossary as well, or is it just for that instance on the
No, just for that instance. It doesn't update the glossary. So the way it works, I didn't want to go into technical detail, but the JavaScript will parse the whole page, and it will pick up a bunch of it will tokenize the whole thing, and it will send in batches. You can configure how many of these tokens to send on each batch, and the backend server will pick up all the ones that were sent, and it will do a hash and save it on a database. So it's very specific to the place where you edit. If you need something that works across the whole site, you put it on the glossary.
Thank you for your talk. Gracias. You said that another backend or can be configured, or at least the Rosetta backend needs to evolve to support some other backends.
Yes.
Right now, in PloneConf multilingual, we have a similar solution that allows you to translate content and save in Plone translated. I have a pull request and a change to make that pluggable, so that we can plug any backend we want, and not only Google Translate. Could we use something like that with this package, or we would need the Rosetta backend to work?
Yeah, because this is a fast API backend. It's a really small thing. Let me show you. This is a very, very small. So here at the backend, it's this is a Google backend. Basically connects to the client API, and from this method here, translate text. I don't know if you see anything. It's very small.
Yes, yes.
I don't know how to increase the font, but it's, I don't know, 100 less, 70 lines of code. It's very, very easy. Yeah, one thing I didn't mention about PloneConf multilingual is the bubble view with the ability to use Google Translate. Just click a button, it translates. Yeah, I didn't mention that. Thank you.
It just works, but yeah.
Yeah, the problem is that then you have the translation saved.
Yeah, of course. That's the difference between the multilingual solution and this one.
Yeah, and
But the point is that if we can share the backend between what we do in multilingual and here.
I don't know. Maybe.
Okay, thank you.
Just a sec. Would there be an option to also use, for instance, Libre Translate, a self-hosted translation server?
Sure. I didn't know about it, but we can implement it, yeah.
Yeah, Libre Translate is easy to set up and relatively good, and especially for inside documents where you don't want stuff to go to Google or to DeepL or whoever.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that will be way faster as well, so you don't have to make calls. Yeah. And how? Well, we can talk later. Okay.
So like LibreOffice with Libre Translate.
Anyone else? No? Well, thank you, Mr. Pellegrini.
Thank you.
Next talk in some minutes. I think it's 3:20, but will be held in Portuguese. Thank you.